All right, y'all. Good afternoon. Luis Morales here, health fitness specialist with Exos at Autodesk, and this is the final stretch break of the week, 2:30 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. What we're going to go ahead and get into here today, guys, is just some stretching that we were doing, or stretching, I should say, that is kind of meant to help us regenerate from that workout earlier. If you were with us with Exercise with Exos, these stretches will also be good for even if you weren't in that workout. Still good stuff to practice on a daily basis. So let's go ahead and get right into it. What we're going to start with is something called the couch stretch. So if you have, as you can see, I have a couch behind me. If you guys have a couch or a chair or some kind of sturdy furniture, something you can hook the foot on and then put the knee on the ground close to it, let's go ahead and get into that position. Usually a pillow will help. I usually kind of have a pad just to help the knee out with contact in the ground. So let's go ahead and get into that. What we're going to do is hook a foot onto that couch or chair or whatever. And if you guys are in a position where you don't have this, go ahead and just get into that hip flexor stretch position. So one knee on the ground and the foot can rest on the ground, and then we'll stretch it like that. But if you have a piece of furniture, let's go ahead and get into that hip flexor, or I should say couch stretch position here. And so what we're going to do, as long as we've kind of hooked that foot and now we have a knee down kind of on a pad or on a pillow or something like that, you might already be feeling a nice hip flexor stretch or a quad stretch. But what we're going to do is squeeze that glute super hard. And from here, again, you might already be feeling a stretch. Maybe there's no need to push the hips forward at all, but that glute squeeze is the most important part. What we want to maintain, we also want to maintain some kind of tightness through the core, and then try and breathe into that tension, whether it's in front of the hip or quad or both. I know for me, after those walking lunges earlier, I thoroughly enjoyed those, but we got to stretch it out, make sure our tissue kind of doesn't shorten up too much as we continue to sit at a desk or stand at a desk kind of throughout the day. So let's keep that glute squeezed. Let's exhale the tension. Keep that breathing regular. All right, last breath here. Nicely done, you guys. All right, let's come out of that tension. We can use that front leg to stand on up, and then we'll hook that other foot onto the couch or chair or what have you. Get that knee onto the ground. Try and straighten up the best you can. If you're leaning forward a little bit and that's all the tension you can handle, that's totally fine. Think of a nice straight line from the shoulders down to that knee. We want to be able to squeeze the glute in this position. You know, can we breathe in this position comfortably? Is the tension way too much? Feel free to kind of play around with this position and make it work for you. Regardless of where you're at, let's keep the glute squeeze going, keep that breathing going. Good work, you guys, good work. Let's do one more big breath here. Breathe into the front of that hip. Exhale all that tension. Good work, you guys. Okay, let's slowly come out of that position. Next up, we're going to come into a standing position. Get up nice and tall. Take a moment and get it on up. All right, so let's go ahead and interlace those fingers behind our backs here. Let those hands get really heavy. Pretend like we're holding a really heavy kettlebell or something like that back there. The arms are going to straighten out. We're going to pinch those shoulder blades together. And before we continue, kind of stretch out that upper body, let's squeeze those glutes. Just make sure that those hips are right under us. And then we can kind of open up that chest, maybe look up towards the ceiling a little bit if that's comfortable. Once we get into this position, we're kind of breathing into the chest. So the chest is the focus here. Just letting the rib cage expand as much as possible. Expanding on that inhale, kind of contracting, getting smaller on that exhale. Heavy hands here, guys. Hands are getting dragged down towards the ground. We still got the hips under us. That chest and the front of those shoulders are getting opened up here. Good work. Keep those glutes squeezed. Let's do one more big breath. Nice long exhale. Good work, you guys. Slowly we can release those hands. Let them kind of come down to our side, shake out the shoulders a little bit if you need to. Okay, up next, we're gonna work on the shoulders a little bit more. So let's go ahead and spread those arms out. Nice big kind of T position here. We can ball up those fists, but we'll keep the thumbs up. And so again, we don't want to be shrugging here. We want those shoulders kind of sit nice and level with the top there. And what we're going to do is just do some rotation. So let's go ahead and start by rotating those thumbs backwards to point back at the wall behind us. Good. We shouldn't be shrugging. Just go as far as you comfortably can. Keep those glutes squeezed and the hips under you. And now let's rotate. Have those thumbs come up. Have them point forward now towards your computer. And now down towards the ground. Make sure we're not shrugging here, guys. We just kind of want to rotate through the socket. Let's bring the thumbs back pointed forward towards your computer, up towards the ceiling, and now back towards the wall behind us. Good job, guys. Good job. It's important to keep the maintenance up on these muscles. Really don't want to neglect these as time goes on. Let's keep rotating now. Thumb going up, pointed forward, pointed down. Good job, you guys. Twisting as far as you comfortably can, no shrugging. Now let's do one more big rotation going the other way. So going forward, controlling it. Thumbs are up now. And now we're turning them back to point behind us towards that wall behind us. Good job, good job. All right, let's come all the way back to neutral. So thumbs are up. And then we can slowly let those arms fall down to our sides. Give those shoulders a little shake, maybe a little shimmy. All right, let's come on down to the ground here, hands and knees. We're gonna take a moment and do a little bit of a stability movement here. We were doing a lot of dead bugs earlier, and so now we can kind of do something that's similar yet opposite. And so from this hands and knees position, what we'll be doing is something called the bird dog. So basically extending the opposite arm and the leg here. And it might feel like a little bit of a balance movement at first. So let's start with that right arm and the left leg. So the key here is to tighten up that core before we move, keep that back nice and flat. And then we're gonna reach out that right arm and extend that left leg. Still keeping that back nice and straight. Let's reach through the right arm and the left leg as far away from each other as possible while still keeping that back nice and straight. So you're still feeling the core. Should feel nice and evenly balanced between that right knee and the left arm. Let's take a couple breaths in this position. Good job, everybody. Good job. Reaching through as far as you can. Beautiful. All right, let's control that right arm and left leg back in. We're going to plant those onto the ground, and now we're going to do the same thing other side here. So left arm is going to come off the ground, right leg as well. We're going to reach through those all the way, but we want to keep the core really, really tight. Keep that back nice and flat. Balance ourselves between that right hand and left knee. Good job, you guys. Good job. Big reach. Trying to be as long as you can between that left and that right arm and leg. Good job, everybody. Good job. One more breath. Nice work. All right, let's control it back on in. Good work. All right, so we're back here in our hands and knees position. Hands are right under the shoulders, and what we're going to do to close it out is a little bit of serratus activation. So activating a muscle runs from the shoulders into the rib cage. And what we're going to do here is lock out those arms and those wrists. We got to pretend like we got a big cast around our elbows. Those are not going to bend whatsoever. Now from here, the spine is going to stay nice and straight as well. We're going to sink down towards the ground, kind of letting our shoulder blades pinch or poke up through our shirts. And then from here, what we're going to do, activate those muscles and push away from the ground, but we're not going to round the back. So it's kind of a subtle movement. If you watch me, I'm only going to move a few inches here, kind of sink down towards the ground. And then as I push away, it's just a few more inches to kind of get back up. So let's slowly start to move. Let yourself down nice and slow. And then we can kind of use some power and push the ground away. Still keeping those elbows nice and straight. So we're sinking down and then pushing away quickly. Good work, you guys. Good work. Let's make sure the shoulders kind of stay away from the ears here. And when you push up, make sure that back doesn't round. Upper back shouldn't round at all. No part of the back should be rounding here. We're just sliding those shoulder blades together as we sink down and then away from each other on the back of the rib cage through this movement. Let's take a couple breaths. Do a couple more pushes here. So final 2, sink down, push away. Last one here. Sink down, good. And let's push away. Good work, you guys, good work. All right, you can sit back, shake those shoulders out. And that is all the time I have left for this stretch break Thursday afternoon, the last one of the week. So speaking of last one of the week, we got abs and core / mobility with Brittany today at 4:30 p.m. That's gonna be our last offering of the day. And then don't forget, Jazzy and I also teach some pretty cool classes on Fridays. So looking forward to seeing everybody there tomorrow with those. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Luis.
See you, Jazzy.